Under the Bridge finale aired. Mercy Alone. Sorry, I'm a little under the weather, so my voice is not that great right now, but I wanted to come on. I watched it twice. It aired last night, and I wanted to give this show justice. When I first decided I was going to talk about the show, I obviously don't know what I'm getting myself into when I do that because I don't have screenings of these shows ahead of time to say, yeah, this is a show I want to talk about. And I'm so glad I did this, the way that they wrapped this story. It's such a hard story. You're dealing with a real life who actually died, and people that were involved. And yes, some of this stuff was inserted into the story to help with the pacing, etc., etc. It was so well executed, and I highly recommend it. There are a lot of things that are embedded in this story, and especially in the last couple episodes, the idea of honesty and being true and finding redemption and extending forgiveness. I mean, these are all themes that were kind of drilled into the story towards the end. And I'm so grateful for that. I loved how the episode opened. It was so haunting and so, oh my gosh, we revisit the scene where the girls are in their room at Seven Oaks singing Biggie, and the edits on this scene with the title card made me jump up from my seat as I knew we were in for a crazy ride in this episode. The tone for this episode was set in those initial seconds and the way that they edit that. From here on out, I'm gonna reveal spoilers. So if you haven't watched the latest episode, just dip out. I'm going to try and I'm just going to highlight some things that really stood out to me in this video. If I took the time to really uh, dig deep into everything that happened, this would be a very, very long video. So the first scenes that for me that felt very disturbing to me in this episode was when Kelly was on the phone with Joe describing how they would hurt and destroy Reena, and her mom was in the room. Yo, I was like, what is happening here? Like, how do you listen to this and not say anything or do anything? It just made my blood boil, honestly. She's just doing her thing, folding clothes, and does nothing, says nothing. The other thing that really struck me, and first of all, Kelly's performance, the Izzy, the one who plays Kelly, holy Emmy, that scene. I mean, really, just her whole performance, but the last episode just really blew me away. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Um, she played so many different facets of this murder, Kelly. It was like peeling a very rotten onion, and she dissected this psychotic, probably with multiple personalities, in such a way on screen that I was just floored, and give her all the awards, or at least nomination. Izzy just killed it. And so another highlight for me was Archie and Ezra's performance, Manjeet and Sumna's. Archie really stood out to me in this episode in such a beautiful way. And I'm so glad because Archie's amazing, and the way she has embodied this mother who is feeling all kinds of ways about her daughter. And I'm sure there's a lot of things that she wish she got right. And to find out that her mom passed away in 2018 really just messed me up in a good way. So I needed a couple hours to do this, but Archie nailed it to extend so much mercy and forgiveness to Warren, even to like willing to do it with Kelly too, which I think is insane considering Kelly had no remorse, no even admittance of anything, of any wrongdoing. Archie really nailed that, and it was beautifully done. And a lot of things that Ezra did in the scenes where he didn't really have a whole lot of dialogue in this episode, but his eyes and body language really spoke volumes. And I just wanted to just say kudos to those two because they killed it as well. The relationship between Cam and Rebecca, they leave off in a really good note, and I think it's right. And I feel like Rebecca, people were really angry at her, and I really understood her and got to see where she was coming from pretty early on. And then when we saw the episode where it's Rebecca and Cam and her brother Gabe, when we saw that dynamic and what happened that day, I felt like I understood her even more. And to me, like, I just had a lot of compassion towards her. And yes, there were moments of frustration. There's a scene between her and Warren, and he calls her and he basically says, "You're the only family I have. Would you come and sit with me while I try to be honest about what happened?" And she denies him that. And because, and I was watching this with other friends and they were like so upset with her, and I was saying, but she can't even be honest about her own brother's that day that he died, his death. And not that she played a role, but she believes that she did, right? And so she obviously treated her brother like crap right before he died. That's going to mess you up in ways that you can't even imagine. And so Rebecca can't stand in proxy for Warren when he's trying to be honest about what he did and his role in this death, when she can't even be honest with herself about how she feels. And it was an accident. He fell, and it's not on her. And I feel like she spent a lot of this season living her life through that filter. And all of the decisions that she had made up until then were because of that. And because, yes, her relationship with Warren was very much about her brother, but it's actually more very much about her, and how she desperately wants to see herself as this clean, guiltless person, and wants redemption and is craving for that. I have a lot of compassion towards her character. I love where it ends with her. Cam finds out the truth about her adoption, and she goes and seeks out her family. As disappointing as that is, I'm so glad that she gets that for herself. She resigns from the force. Reena Virk, there's a scene in the end where we see Reena Virk's parents in her room, and they're, you know, putting things back together. And in the end, you can see Sumna find a Biggie disc and puts it on. And this song that basically marked this entire season, and they're sitting there and enjoying it. And then it starts to skip, and Sumna looks up, and I just knew that Reena was there standing, and it was such a poignant end to the story, and just beautifully done, beautifully edited, beautifully. Gosh, these are really hard for me. Season finales are really hard. The fact that this is a real story is even more harder. These are real people. This story has managed to humanize every person there. I really don't feel much for Kelly, or Joe, for that matter. These two girls and how they were involved in their role in this, and doing season finale wraps are very emotionally hard for me, because it's just, I get so invested in the characters. And Reena was just, she was just struggling to find herself, and got into the wrong crowd, just like Rebecca and her relationship with Warren. She was obviously seeing herself in him. I feel like Sumna was perhaps seeing Reena in Warren. um, the thing that she says about, if somebody had extended kindness to you, maybe this wouldn't have happened. In some ways, wishing that she extended more understanding, more attention, more to her daughter, then Reena would still be here. And so there's just a lot to unpack there between her relationship, Sumna and Warren. And Archie's character is also trying to find redemption and come to terms with her relationship with her daughter. This show is just phenomenal. This has been one of the best true crime shows out there. And these kids, the way that they've nailed their role, my goodness, I will be checking out their stuff, for sure, and following their career. Lily Gladstone and Riley Keough, slam dunk on their performance. Archie and Ezra, the Virks, amazing. Just it's just a really stellar cast, really stellar cinematography. The direction was amazing. The writing was phenomenal. What a series. And I guess one would say that justice was served. Others would say that justice wasn't served. I just wonder what you think. So let me know in the comments, and we'll talk to you later.